Hello everybody, my name is Grace and today we're going to go on the new book. Who was Henry Ford? So first, let's start. Who was Henry Ford? As a young boy, Henry Ford had always been fascinated by mechanical devices, such as watches and wind-up toys. But nothing prepared him for the sight he saw in 1876 on Michigan Dirt Road. 12-year-old Henry watched a small cart roll along. The cart was carrying a steam engine. Farmers use steam engines to power farm machines, and usually horse-pulled these carts from one place to another. But the owner of this road engine went one step further. By connecting a chain from the engine to the cart wheels, the cart rolled down the path under its own power. Henry was amazed. The farmer who owned the road engine moved to the side of the road to let Ford's horse-drawn wagon pass. Instantly, Henry scrambled off the wagon and began asking the farmer questions about his machine. The farmer explained how the engine worked and how he used its power to move the wagon. In that moment, Henry knew he would dedicate his life to building self-powered vehicles. Eventually, Henry built the most famous car ever, the Model T. From 1908 to 1927, the Ford Motor Company sold more than 15,000 million Model Ts around the world. Henry Ford helped people move beyond the horse and the road engine toward a more modern world filled with fast and powerful cars. Chapter 1. The Young Mechanic. Henry Ford was born on July 30th, 1863, on Dearborn, Michigan. From that owned by his parents, William and Mary Ford. The couple had 5 more children over the next 10 years: John, Margaret, James, William Jr., and Robert. As a boy, Henry went to a one-room schoolhouse. There he showed an early interest in practical jokes. He was also good at solving math problems in his head. But Henry's greatest love was studying mechanical objects. When Henry was 7, a worker on the family took apart his watch to show the boy how it ran. Henry immediately began to learn everything he could about watches. He made his own tools from bits of metal he found around the house, and explored the inside of any watch he could find. By this time, he had taught himself how to repair broken watches. During school, he sometimes worked on his classmates' watches, hiding them behind a textbook as the other students worked on their lessons. At home, Henry also loved to take apart wind-up toys. His younger brothers and sister fought to keep their toys away from Henry. Henry's toys were just practice, tiny machines to open and study. Henry's fascination with machines only grew. On trips to nearby Detroit with his father, Henry had steam engines on trains, a common source of power for machines of the day. Steam engines burned coal or wood in a boiler to heat water until it created steam. The power of the cylinder then was used. The power of the expanding steam held in a metal container called a cylinder was then used to move some piece of machinery, like the wheels of the train. Steam trains could carry people long distances, but for most local travels, they relied on horses or their own feet. Back in Dearborn, Henry carried out a small experiment with some friends. He built a miniature steam engine, but the device exploded, burning down a nearby fence. Mr. Ford didn't punish his son. He just told him to be more careful in the future. From then on, William let his son use a small shack on a farm as his workshop. When Henry was 12, the Ford family suffered a great loss. Mrs. Ford died shortly after giving birth to her 17th child. Sadly, the baby died too. Henry later wrote, "I thought a great wrong had been done to me when my mother was taken." Henry always remembered his mother, Mary, as a loving and kind person. She taught him lessons that he remembered throughout his life, especially the importance of always working hard. Just a few months later, Henry's life changed forever when he and his father took another trip to Detroit in July 1876. It was on this trip that Henry saw a self-powered road engine for the first time. The experience convinced him that he should become a mechanic and an inventor. The life of farmer was definitely not for Henry. To him, handling firewood and plowing the fields was boring, tiresome work. So in 1879, he was 16, Henry left school and Dearborn and moved to Detroit. He wanted to learn more about engines and manufacturing. With that knowledge, he could fulfill his dream of building a self-powered vehicle. So that's all with chapter 1, and I will see you for chapter 2. So bye bye.